Hi, we're Steve and Audra. Today we're sharing a look back at the first leg of our very first major road trip in our self-converted Ford Transit camper van that we took this past summer. We're heading to the mountains of North Carolina to hike and explore.
He's all in.
We hope you'll come along with us and enjoy the ride. If you've been following along on our adventures, you know that we've already taken a few trips in our van. But with our build, travels, and life going on, we never had the time until now to share our very first trip to the mountains with you. So fasten your seatbelt and sit back for a little trip back in time to when we started learning the ins and outs of van life. Of course, wouldn't you know it, just as we were taking the cats out to the van, moments before leaving, a loud truck drove by. Gray freaked out and peed on me. Yes, that's right, she peed on me. A quick change of clothes ensued, and we had to try again to get our girl out to the van successfully.
It was a mad dash trying to get out the door and on the road. That's how it usually is when trying to leave for a trip, but this time was probably a little worse since work had been so busy. And this is the first time getting ready for a long trip with the van. Once we were finally able to get everything and everyone loaded, we got on the road. The drive went pretty well in spite of a passing rainstorm. We had hoped to make it to Asheville for the night, but with our late start, we changed up our plans and stopped at a Cracker Barrel in South Carolina for the night. The next morning, we were back on the road with our GPS set to Chimney Rock State Park in North Carolina.
What is that cute little kitty? What's that cute little kitty? Huh? What's that cute little boy?
The entrance fee for Chimney Rock State Park is $17 a person, which we think is high, but we'd had several people recommend the park, and it's known as an iconic North Carolina spot.
Take the next right onto Chimney Rock Park Road, then you will arrive at your destination.
We were excited to get started on the first part of our adventures.
You've arrived.
It was already quite hot when we arrived, and we had to park in the full sun, which concerned us a little because of the cats, but we felt confident they would be okay. We put up the back window covers where the sun was hitting the van the most, left the windows cracked open, and we left the Max Air fan running on low.
We jumped on a shuttle that took us to the base of a trail that would lead us to the popular Chimney Rock.
The hike up was quite strenuous, especially for us Floridians who are used to flat everything. We climbed 494 steps via the Outcroppings trail to reach the 2,280 feet above sea level view. Along the way, there were several unique formations.
The subway is a natural underpass with a cave-like feel that goes under and through the mountain for about 30 feet. It was a tight squeeze for a 6'3" middle-aged fat guy. What a workout.
The Grotto is another cave-like area on the side of the mountain that offers some great views along the way up to the top of the trail.
After several more stairs, we reached another popular spot, Pulpit Rock, which offered yet even more great views.
What a payoff when we reached the top of Chimney Rock, with awesome views of the mountains in the distance and Hickory Nut Gorge, Lake Lure, and the area known as the Carolina Piedmont Plateau region below. We went up a little further to the Opera Box, another grotto or cave-like area in the rocks that overlooks the 315-foot granite monolith, Chimney Rock. Steve did his very important part, taking his turn at protecting others by holding up the rock with his head.
We were hot and tired when we got back down to the bottom of the trail, but decided to hike another trail to Hickory Nut Waterfalls, a film location for the last of the Mohicans movie.
Along the way, I found some wild raspberries. I couldn't pass up this delicious treat. We also passed the last rhododendron blooms of the season. The hike felt much longer than it was supposed to be, at just 1.4 miles round trip, but it was well worth it. What a cool waterfall. You could stand right at the bottom of the 404-foot high falls and look up the side of the rock face, since not much water comes over these falls. And instead of typical waterfalls we usually see, this was just a sheer wall of rock as you looked up. Quite dramatic.
We were so tempted to take a dip here, but unfortunately, it was not allowed.
After our time at Chimney Rock, we were ready to cool off. Upon the recommendation of some locals, we went in search of a place called Hippie Swimming Hole. The directions were a bit sketchy, as in, go 2 to 3 miles until you see a guardrail. But we finally found the area that seemed to match their description, with a well-worn path heading down the hill. We weren't quite sure we were in the right place until we came across this sign.
This is either going to be the funnest thing we've ever done or the dumbest. Usually, they're one and the same.
This decline was much steeper than it actually looks here.
How hard is it gonna be to get back up?
We finally got to the bottom and decided it had been worth the effort to get there. There were big boulders and cascades everywhere.
There was a decent-sized snake sunning itself on one of the rocks. We think it was a non-venomous banded water snake, but we made sure to keep an eye on it while we were nearby.
There's Steve. There's the snake. You're getting your hat wet? I guess Steve's cooled down now.
The water was pretty cold, but it was so nice to get in and cool off, and freshen up. This would have to suffice as our bath for the day. That's van life for you.
That's nice and cold.
You get used to it fast, though. Oh, he's all in.
We also made some new friends of the furry variety. It was enjoyable watching these dogs having such a blast in the water.
Oh boy.
Hi, puppy. Hi.
A swallowtail butterfly was also enjoying this spot. I took a moment to snap some photos.
We went upstream a bit where there was a waterfall and a bigger swimming hole.
What are you doing?
As we headed back up the trail, we wondered if our van would still be there or be in one piece. This is the first time we left our van parked in a backwoods, unpopulated area. There had also been several no parking signs along the side of the road. We had parked past those signs, but we had been apprehensive when we left the van.
Well, that was fun. We got about a 1/4 mile hike. Got refreshing water.
Bath.
Got cleaned up. Our van's still here. Wahoo!
Our next stop was the Lake Lure Flowering Bridge, a community garden planted on a bridge that was closed to traffic in 2011. You may already know that I love flowers, so this was a special treat with all the blooms in such a unique location with views of Chimney Rock as a backdrop. I admired the plants, unique art and features throughout the garden, and snapped hundreds of photos, which I tend to do wherever we stop. It was time to get a bite to eat, so we drove around looking for a place with a nice view. We decided on a community park along the river and settled in to enjoy the early evening hours. We put the harnesses and leashes on the cats so they were secured and opened up the side and back doors of the van for the first time since we've been in the van with the cats. Fatty loved taking in the views from his perch on his cat tree. Gray, always a little more timid, peeked out from a hiding spot.
We sat by the van hanging out with the cats and enjoying the evening. We played a high-stakes game of rock, paper, scissors to see who would have to clean out the cat litter that night. Fortunately for me, it was Audra.
We finished our time at the park with a quick stroll through a gaggle of geese. Next, we'll explore the northeast side of Asheville with stops at the highest point east of the Rockies and other trails and vistas along the Blue Ridge Parkway. But for that, you'll have to tune in for our next episode. As always, thanks for joining us on our adventures. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Then click that like button and the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. See you next time.